Boom, we're live. Post zero. Good morning, everybody. Gentlemen, we are discussing the bucket on your head. For people who don't know what we mean by that, on the internet, especially in the self-development space, you will run into people who have the latest, greatest, most amazing thing you should do to improve your life. And if you're not doing it, you're going to be absolutely miserable, be it religion, be it diet, be it whatever life conviction they thought of this time. And there's a great old post about this. You need to stuck your head in this bucket right now, which is what we're going to discuss today. But before we begin, as always, gentlemen, how have you been?
Pretty good.
I've been sticking buckets in my head for a long time, and I'm happy this post is here. So,
Hawk,
I've been well, man. I've been very, very busy though with tax season and everything. And then right after the show today, I'm going to a Men's Warehouse to get a tux fitted for myself. So that'll be fun.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
What's the occasion, if I may ask?
I have a buddy who's getting married. So
What? It doesn't. Does there need to be an occasion? Just having a tux and walking out in public is pretty cool. You know,
it's like that joke from Anchorman, like new suits, yeah. All the guys go together to get their suits fitted.
Yeah.
So lately, and I've been off Twitter a bit, like avoiding all the skerfuffle and arguing that's going on. Something passed me by about like the Christ pill, which in my humble opinion is actually nothing more than just trad cods again. Like them evil red pillars are doing it wrong because they've got no morality. Missing the point that self-improvement for men in like the sexual manner is mostly amoral, and probably 9 times out of 10 your morals will be a detriment instead of a benefit. However, it still keeps popping up. Men need to believe more, sacrifice more, set themselves on fire more for the greater good, for society, for the children. And I don't think this is ever going to change with that debate between like us and them. But I'd love to get your opinion on all of this, what's going on right now, if there are any new arguments or if it's just all the same. Nuke, take it. Oh, Hawk. Who wants to go first?
I don't care. Nuke could go first. Nuke, go.
To me, it's just all interest. You guys hear me well? It's all intersexual competition, right? So this year, what's happening is that these young tradcon whatever guys, the Christ pill, whatever you call it, they're really attaching this to like their sexual strategy or their reproductive problem, right? You hear them talk. They're not talking about most of their tweets against us or their shows or their content is about wives and degeneracy and us going out ruining women or something. And I'm like, dude, Christianity is more than just that. It's like good acts, and it's like volunteering at hospitals and soup kitchens. It's it's about doing things in real life. Like you can tweet paragraphs at the red pill all day, but like that's not gonna. What do what are you doing? All you care about is the girl part of this, like getting a wife or getting a girlfriend part. So it's like all intersexual competition, and it's a way for guys to like who are not good at getting women or have trouble to kind of like bring down the guys that are getting or are happy in their relationships or are getting women, and then for them to get hand delivered a girl by Jesus, So.
Oh, it's almost like something called a longhouse. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that.
Yes.
Everyone's focusing on the women, even though there's supposed to be this thing called Jesus and God, who's supposed to be number one in your religion. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of odd how everyone just brings everything back to the women and how the women are suffering, and how if the men were doing better, then the women wouldn't be such degenerates and everything would be so much better. So, one of the things that really pisses me off about these guys so much is that they feel like they're making the argument, number one, for the first time, and number two, that nobody's ever heard it before. It's like, hey, guys, did you know that marriage is the foundation of all society? It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Everyone's known this fucking argument for like 25 years and even longer before that. You're not special. You're not new. We all hear it. And guess what? Nobody's picking up what you're selling because everyone can see right through it that it's completely fucked right now in all of our countries. It's not necessarily anybody's fault, but it's just the way it is. So enough of your fucking bullshit bitch ass moralizing that I see all the fucking time from these people.
Red Hawk is done. Red Hawk is done with the Christ Pro.
What makes me so mad is that like these people are ostensibly like they're like my people. They come from my side of things, but they're just so fucked on this topic, and it's infuriating to watch because all the other stuff that they do say, which is correct on a number of things, it just makes them look like they got like 3 heads when everyone else is listening to them. So when they go say something, when they go say anything else on another topic, which might be right, everyone's going to be like, "Oh, well, you know, you're saying this really stupid stuff about like the whammon question and everything. And no, I'm not going to take you seriously on anything else."
I think that's a millennial thing. Like, I'm good at one thing, so I must be smart to do other things. You know, like there's people that have a degree in psychology and then they're like, okay, well, now I know about men and women and intersexual dynamics. I'm like,
yeah, they think they're very erudite. Yes.
Yeah, like you know, like you've never even seduced a woman. Like, what? Like, how do you are an expert? It's just like, it's almost insulting to have people talk about stuff they're not qualified, but just because I have a degree in something maybe related that I know what you're talking about, I'm talking about, and you don't. I think it's lame.
You remember those armchair psychologists you used to know when you were younger? Like they started to study psychology. They were like, what? How old were they? 19 or something. And after their first year, they saw right through you. It's like, oh, I know what's going on with you. I don't know about you guys, but I encountered those a lot.
Yeah, a lot of like Reddit tier, Reddit bros. We're doing that a lot as well. Yeah, but of course, like, you know, don't bring up the fact that the psychology field is basically 100% fake at this point, and it's what, like 90% of their studies can't be replicated. It's like, yeah, you're literally a fake science.
You're a fake science.
Isn't that for every area right now where they're like no study can be replicated?
Yeah, it's like throughout all like the social sciences, like sociology and psych,
like
and all those other ones.
Asking women their body count, like for science. It's like, yeah, I'm sure women are gonna be like, yeah, it's 6. I'm 30 and it's 6, and I'm just like, so that means you've had sex with like one guy every 2.5 years? Yeah,
impossible.
Like, and then we're less like, hey, no, actually, girls go out and do their thing, and they're like, no, and we're like, okay, well then, have a nice day. I don't know what to tell you.
But that's the thing too that I keep noticing. Like it keeps happening that the so-called quote unquote opposition needs to be proven right. They have this incessant need to be right. And I truly don't get that, where it's like, look, we don't care if you're right. So far, our mental model has worked for us.
Oh yeah, the moon.
Why do you
moon
care
made out
so
of
much?
cheese? The moon made out of cheese thing. When you go on a debate, they hate that because people are so obsessed with truth and science and accuracy that you're just like, hey, we got what we need. We don't need to keep doing research. We have experience and anecdotes and a little bit of Evo psych, a little bit sprinkled on top. But we already got the experience. Like there's nothing new to add to the red pill. There's nothing new. Maybe a little bit of like kind of tweaking stuff, but for the most part, it's all been written down. It's all in an archive somewhere, and it's just like I think they're mad because they have nothing to add, and they want to be part of the cool kids club of knowing everything about the opposite gender. And here's the other thing: with these Christ pill bros and the science bro, like the Evo psych bros and everything, they all have one fear, and that's making women look bad, right? So if you notice about articles about where it shows a bad side of women, they change it to a gender neutral problem, right? So it's like there's an article I think on CBS.com where it says like, hey, millennials are going into debt for dating because of dating, right? And it's just like millennials are going into debt or men, because women don't pay for dates. Even in the most rich countries like the US, women aren't paying for dates. So who's going into debt? Men are, meaning that women are wasting men's money, and that looks bad on paper. So let's just say millennials, because that kind of like. So the same thing with the Christ pill bros. They'll be like, hey, how about we just do covenantal marriage and forget about the state? And then, more guys will be like, you know what, I'll sign up for that because at least I won't get my life destroyed in court. but they're like, no, you got to do state. And you wonder why do they say that? And they say that because it would be very inconvenient for them to paint women in a bad light and how they go about relationships. So they can't do that. So what kind of rational guy would sign up to be a part of that group of people, knowing that no matter what they do, they cannot ignore or offend their God, which is women? It's not God, because God is kind of misogynistic. You know?
For Old Testament God.
Yeah.
Well, that is a very good and fair point, because like you keep seeing this from like all ends, like the Michael Knowles, the Ben Shapiro's, guys like that, where it's like, man up and take your responsibility. But like men have taken that responsibility for like over 60 years. And where did that get them? Almost nowhere. Like marriage is on a complete decline. Single men are absolutely on the rise. And even in Christianity, even in the churches, you keep seeing it more and more and more and more, where the women who are there are all these like reformed women, where it's like single mom of 5 kids by 6 different dads. Do the math, it works out. And that's all they have to offer the guys. And what I tend to notice is like the offering to make it attractive to them is shame the guys into submission. It's like, yeah, you know what? If you were just better, this would have never happened. This poor girl would have never made these decisions. Coming back to the age-old question, women, does thou have agency? Which is completely skipped from what I'm seeing by the religious guys.
Well, the thing is that the way they address that question isn't even in like an actually like based way if they want to actually solve the problem. Because on like a metaphysical level, I can actually kind of agree with them when they say like women don't have agency to the degree that men do. I actually agree with that statement. However, in the world that we live in today, the state across all of our countries has basically legislated women's agency into law. And you can't do this like half-ass thing when you're like, oh, well, if men were just better, then therefore like women are just going to somehow give up all the, cash and prizes that the state, the government, social media, all the companies provide for them. If it was just that men were better, they don't even go like the based way and say, oh, we're going to take away women's rights. They can't even say that because that would piss off like the women in their audience. So it's like they're half-assed. We know they're full of shit. And that's the thing that really, that's why nobody's picking up what they're selling.
Yeah, they're neutered. They're basically neutered. They can't. They're so afraid of calling women. What they'll do is that they'll call them out, but like, oh, we're worried about you. You shouldn't do OnlyFans. You shouldn't be a hoe because. But even now they've shifted to those red pill guys. Got to stop making these girls into hoes. I'm just like, you don't understand. Like women choose to be hoes, and even if they don't, me believing that they choose to be hoes makes me happy. It's my mental model. It's what works for me, and there's nothing you can do to change that. You can argue all day, tweet all day, but like, you really think a guy that who struggled his whole 20s, served the country, did all these things, and then looked back and be like, man, society doesn't give 2 fucks about me. Now I'm getting laid a little bit, and now some guy on the internet who also got laid too is telling me, no, dude, you can't do that. Just like, no, go fuck yourself. Like, no, that's not how this works, Yeah,
that's the other thing.
We're not putting the bucket. We're not putting buckets on our heads.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Oh, sorry, Jack.
No, go ahead, dog.
Yeah, that's the other fucking thing is that these guys think that they have some power and some authority over you. It's like that fucking that's like that sovereign. Oh man, I was about to drop an F-bomb.
Don't even
Jack's
say
chat. I stopped myself.
I think we have already lost the monetization.
That sovereign.
Don't say his name. No.
That sovereign F word that likes to take things up his ass.
Foxtrot, Alpha, Gamma,
yeah,
Omega.
Yeah, that fucking guy. Is walking around acting like he's got the authority to tell other people what to do online. And this is why I forget who had this quote, but it's so damn true. And I wish I could attribute it properly right now. But that quote about saying that these guys know less about men than they do about women. It's so true in this case because this guy is parading himself around crying like a little bitch on Twitter to get people to listen to him, acting like somehow he's got the authority to control my life and act about what I should be doing. It's like, motherfucker, you don't know me. You got no authority over me. You've done nothing actionable in your life for me to even
You're
take
younger
your
than
advice
me.
remotely seriously.
I have
Yeah.
more life experience than you. I've done
Yeah,
more
exactly.
things than you. I have lost more things than you in life. I have more experience probably with certain things. Why do I have to take advice from you because you want to make money on a dating app for, like, I just don't get it. You know,
Wait, what did I miss? Is this Charlie Kirk or
No, it's
all
just
of them.
all of them.
all of them?
pretty much.
All of them.
It's
And
no
the
one in
thing is,
particular.
like, they can't help themselves with. Oh, sorry, Panda. Did I interrupt you?
It's no one in particular. Whenever I go on Twitter, it's always an amorphous sea of the same person that's trying to get
An
me to do
amorphous
something.
sea. I like that. An amorphous sea of the same person.
Yes, they're all the same person. They want to get me. They want to get me back into church. They want to get me to, be more chaste. They want me to, be conservative. They want me to grow a beard. They want me to, get jacked or whatever. They want me to, I don't know. They want me to marry somebody that's had a long past. They want me to have a lot of kids, and they wanted me to sacrifice what I want. And I don't
And
know.
what did they offer?
They don't. The thing is, that'd be nice. That'd be nice if I had something. If I had something that was interesting to me, like, okay, do I get like I always say, sexandmoney.com. Do you want sex and money? Well, if you call in, we'll give you sex and money for only $3.99, right? They're not even offering that. They're not even offering that.
The other thing that they offer, Dante, is not even something that they can even guarantee. What they offer is eternal happiness and eternal life and such. And it's like, hey, you know what? I might even agree with you on that, but that's also not something you can guarantee. So how could you say that you've won an argument? And there's a great example with this. We just had an example of this. Destiny. The guy was basically pioneered online debate bros and basically fucked up the internet for everybody as far as I'm concerned. And you know what? He was great at arguments. He was the guy who always walked off to his corner and said, I won the debate in his audience, and he garnered a pretty big audience for it. And you know what? That's great, dude. You won every argument. But you know what? Your life is still fucked. Your arguments mean nothing when you actually go out into the real world, dude. And it's like the same thing with all these trad guys. It's like, okay, go to church more. Well, guess what, dude? I went to church more. It was a long-housed piece of shit fuck show, all right, and it fucked up my relationships with women for decades. Okay, it's like, oh, okay, so go and try and do this other thing now. It's like, okay, I go do that thing. Well, you just didn't do it the correct way. It's like no true Scotsman fallacy with these people.
Yeah, and then the red pill is like, hey, dude, just do what you want. Just be careful. Here's the things that protect you. Do whatever you want. Just know what you want and do it. And that's it. Have a nice day. You're just like, you know what? That's the fuck what I wanted in the beginning. I just wanted to do whatever I wanted.
Well, the other thing too is that like, oh, sorry, Jack. I've been talking.
No. I mean, it's okay, but that's the thing too. They are so against a guy going for what he wants, like the individualism instead of the collectivism.
Yep.
Which, coming from the religious right, I find very ironic. Just saying. But for some odd reason, that whole thing about an individual guy going for what he wants is so appalling to them. Like, no, you can't do that. Absolutely not. That's selfish. That's egocentric. It's crude. It's like, no, motherfucker. I tried serving the rest. I tried serving society. Society never gave me shit back. Society walked all over me. Society rejected me. And now I'm finding guys who have experienced the same thing. We're swapping notes with each other. We're finding out like, hey, you know what? Not everybody is as chaste as we used to think. They're actually pretty promiscuous, one and all. And you know what? I'm gonna get my piece of it. No, you can't do that because then you are a part of what brings down society. And I'm thinking to myself, and I had this argument with Watson like years ago, like, are we part of the problem? It's like, no, because the problem was always there before we even existed. It was just ignored for the most part.
I'm pretty sure that I keep my sex out of public view, so I don't see how I could be a part of the
That's
problem.
why pandas don't mate in the wild.
Well, let's phrase it this way: if I'm part of the problem, they don't know when the problem is happening. They don't know when I have sex. They don't know who I have sex with. They don't know who I prefer to have sex with and the means by which I get it. So I've made a very big effort to keep my problem out of the public view. So I'm whatever their problem is, I'm certainly not a part of it. And so are the people in this panel. I haven't seen you fuck somebody else. I don't want to see you fuck somebody else.
Sometimes I don't even want to hear it. Unless it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's on
So,
your
like,
OnlyFans.
Oh, come on, Dante. You don't want to become the next Jack Murphy? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Everyone in this panel makes a deliberate effort not to make their sexual whatever, quote unquote, a part of the public view, a part of the
Or
problem.
part of their identity, you know. It's just like, dude, we got other things. Yeah, like
we got our shit to do. Sex is just a very small part of life, right? So it's not even if it's a very small part of our lives, it's a very small part of society as a whole to begin with. So whatever the problem is, it's not me.
Well, you know the other thing here, and Jack and Nuke, you guys were talking about this in a bit there, but this idea that these trads have about like the RP space and the sense of, oh, it's just nothing but complete degeneracy, and it's just like male fantasy gone wild and everything like this. And it's like, no, not really, because in our space here, we actually, if you actually want to hold people accountable, like I think this space does a pretty good job of at least holding us accountable to ourselves, own your shit, so to speak, kind of deal.
Yeah, rule zero.
It's,
like if you're not talking about stuff that helps other dude, get the fuck out. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
accountability.
it's not like, this is the land of milk and honey and sunshine and rainbows here. It's like dudes get the shit kicked out of them in this space if you actually want to be serious about it. Like it rips out all the layers of all your bullshit and lays it bare for you to see for yourself, and those of you who actually want to engage in this space, on like the old forums and such, or the way that we talk about here or something like that. It's not fucking sunshine and rainbows over here. So I don't know what this argument is that, oh, you guys are just appealing to like fantasies and whatnot, and none of this is real and it's all fake. It's just gonna lead you down degenerate paths. It's like, dude, I've done more self-improvement to improve my station in life, whether it relates to relationships with women, relationships to other men, relationships to how I make money with my boss and jobs and everything like this. It's done wonders for me. Can you guys even say like you've done that for like one guy on your side in any of those categories? I don't think so. Not from what I'm seeing. They're not sending their best.
Yeah. Well, let's also not forget they also like to say that the red pill guys are just a bunch of promiscuous and adultery committing degenerates, and I think to myself, I don't think I'm really any of that, and I've used the tools that Red Pill has given me over the past couple of years, but I mean, I've gone my own route with it as well. I've used it in my own way that might be they wanted to find an enemy, and they found it in the most popular people within the circles, I think is what they did. They looked on YouTube and they looked up Red Pill, and then they go, oh, this guy right here says you got to bang 50 girls before you turn, such and such age. And
I love how Dante just immediately laughs.
And they don't, guy. and it's, I think to myself, okay, have you actually talked to anybody that's real in here? Or have you actually, have you actually talked to those guys probably outside of those videos, anything like that? Like, you don't know who you're dealing with really. And the funny thing is that, and I've made this point many times already, is that the people within the Christ pill, which is people that I should be able to, I would think, relate to the most, considering, my Christian background and everything. I've found myself disagreeing with them far more because I've had them trying to go after the red pill, saying that, oh, the Christ pill is the way. And I go, that you Christ pills have just as many degenerates. They're just not as open about it. I promise you.
That's what I've heard. I've heard stories. I've heard insider information.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
It's actually pretty clever if you think about it, right? Like, they're doing all this degenerate shit and telling other people to like not be degenerate. That's actually pretty clever. That's a very good way to be degenerate, if you'd ask me.
Yeah.
Like, more degeneracy
they cracked
for me,
the code. Yeah.
Yeah. More degeneracy for me, less degenerate for everybody else. That's pretty good. That's pretty nice.
Well, the trad girls are doing it now. The trad girls are posturing chastity, but they were hoes. All of them were hoes.
They're posturing all right.
Exactly. And the guys aren't even any better from what I understand. Some of them have quite a history, and yet they're the ones that are coming after the red pill guys for doing the same thing that they did probably a couple years before.
Yeah, but that's the thing as well, that they presume men and women are the same. That's a little bit with them. That's also
and yet they're the ones that call us feminist on the other side of the
coin.
God! It's the red pill is feminism for men.
The coin.
Oh my god! It's such a brain dead take. But this piggybacks off of what Gov was saying earlier. There, it's the arguments that these guys have with the space and such. They're like, okay, so who is Red Pill? It's like, oh well, it's Andrew Tate, it's Myron Gaines, and it's Rollo Tomasi, and that's it. It's like, shut the fuck up. You can't even do the most basic Googling to even have like a decent argument here of like any of the posters on the Red Pill forums. Come on, dude.
The forum,
like their arguments aren't even good.
The forum was quarantined like how many years ago? I can't even remember. So there's not even much.
2018.
Yeah, there's not even much to find anymore. So playing devil's advocate here, the reason why they mostly name like Tate and guys like that, of course, like Rollo makes sense why they mention him, but like the reason why they don't mention the forum is because it's barely findable.
Yeah, but how many of them even like crack open one page of any of like Rollo's 5 books? You know, it's like
that's another thing. They don't
lazy too.
TLDR generation. They want the Red Pill in like a 30-second clip. I'm like,
well, here's the other thing too.
Much more than that.
You know, there was this one of these bundles of sticks tweeted out this picture earlier this week about how, you know, it's like we all know like the marriage rates are tanking, basically like a hockey stick, right? They're basically going straight down, and they have for like the last decade basically. And there was some asshole online who took like this graph and shrunk it down to like 10 years and then added it just to 2017. And he's like, when Red Pill content came out, and then marriages started tanking. It's like, dude, this is gonna be really unpopular, especially for people who listen to our show and are active in this space right here. I think our influence on the culture is minuscule at best. I mean, like the most popular Red Pill channel has like,
dude.
the most popular
everybody jack shit influence on the world. Who do you think you are, man?
Yeah.
Who do people think they are? We don't mean shit.
I mean, we're more popular than the Beatles.
Exactly. No, it's like
no.
The most popular RP channel has what, like 1.5 million subscribers at best. And how many of those dudes actually follow through with all the material to make their lives better and aren't just watching it for rage bait, clickbait? I'd say at best 25%, at the absolute best. And then even of those numbers, the guys who actually take the material seriously and apply it to their lives and improve it more, that's probably another 25% of those guys. So it's like the smallest of the small. You know,
man,
it's like,
but
1.5 million.
like,
who's she?
But even like let's take the Andrew Tates and the Myron Gaineses and the stupid shit, those stupid guys. Like let's take them when they came onto the scene. Like all this shit was here before they came into the scene.
That's
like,
true too.
Everything we talk about, like every note that came out of the Red Pill is like notes of what people observe. Like they were dating girls, they were hooking up, all that. This was happening long before.
Oh yeah.
Why do people think what gives people the idea that a podcast of people who could barely articulate their thoughts, you know, who could barely articulate their thoughts could actually change the world in that big a way? That's who do you think these people are? These people are not influential at all. These people are not Cardi B. These people are not the president of the United States.
Well,
Dude,
I think it's the safety thing, right? Because like, look, we know that we're obsessed with safety. Like human beings, we have to always kind of like defer to the lowest common denominator when dealing with society's problems, right? Like for example, me, I shouldn't have been worried about the disease in 2019 of unspecified origin. I was in an age range in a healthy state where it was probably not going to be an issue for me, right? But since there is an obese guy next door who never exercised in his life, who eats Cheetos all day and doesn't do any physical activity, I have to risk losing my job and having my life destroyed because there are certain people that just weren't responsible enough to prepare their bodies for like a pandemic, right? So now we have Red Pill, which is like the new, in their eyes, the new pandemic of something that's bad, that's going to destroy marriage. So I think what they're doing is that women never like this stuff because it's icky, makes them feel icky, and it ruins their longhouse, right? So men defer to women, so they're just like, we got to stop this because our women don't like it. It's like the old boomer dad that defers to the wife. Ask the wife. Like I can't go out tonight, guys, because my wife. I gotta ask permission from my wife, and I think that's just a dynamic we're seeing, right? Because the women that complain about this are the the women that complained about the red pill most were once or like reformed hoes, like girls that were hoes and now they're not hoes anymore. And then they do something and we just autistically take it. It was like, hey guys, the reason she's doing this is because epiphany and she's found God and now she's trying to rebrand into blah, 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 the same thing that we talk about. And they hate that. They're like, oh, you guys are, what do you mean I can't find Jesus? God saves all. We're just like, yeah, he does. But like Glenn Lawrence says, that you're not entitled to marriage because you are a reformed hoe, because you can just keep repenting, like,
Yeah.
I'm sure the Bible works like that,
Also, from what I don't know about your religious backgrounds, if the people here have that, but I was told that like Christian change is a private thing, not a public thing. It's a personal thing. It's a reflection thing. So
well,
I don't know what these people are doing.
Well, from
Not
my
the Christianity I know.
Yeah, from my side of things, I find it very Talmudic that people, think that they could pull a fast one on God, thinking that, you could weasel your way around something. It's like, oh no, I just say I'm a reformed hoe, but I'm going to go and do things, on the other side here and then just repent again, looking for loopholes. So that's all I have to say about it.
That would be called using God or using sin as a license at that point.
I mean, the cleavage does form half of the cross, right? You just need the
and the cross is like this tiny little thing, and then they just have the boobs and the thing is, like, we're not stupid. Like, the red pill guys aren't stupid. We see what you're doing.
Well, most of the guys who say red pill are, but continue, Nuke.
yeah, the red pill, like within quotes, the red pill guys. We see what you're doing, right? Like, let's be honest with you. Do you think the average guy is gonna look at some dude that's in his mid-20s, maybe late 20s, no, not that much life experience, on a podcast next to a blow-up doll, right? Talking to women, shaming women because they decided to stick cucumbers in their pussies, right? And you think that we're gonna see that and be like, you know what? I like what this guy's selling. I think I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna give up the girls I work so hard for, and I'm just going to not have sex anymore and wait and become chaste, because this guy, he's onto something. Like, we really got to look at this and be like, dude, the power of the internet is insanely, like, it's insane, right? Because that's what they're selling. They're just like, hey, I am like Jesus because I go and talk to whores. I'm just like, yeah, but you're not Jesus. You're a human being.
Just saying. Mary Magdalena. Just saying. Now I ain't saying.
They said to be like Jesus, but you can't ever actually be him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's just like, and another thing is that they can't see the red pill outside of how they see the religion, right? So to them, red pill is like a competing ideology. So
good point.
So the thing is, like, they complain about that we give prescriptions. We don't. We just say, hey, dude, find out what you want. Here are the tools. Use them. Have fun. Report back if you find anything interesting. Cool. But to them, they think that we're all prescription, right? I mean, we'll say things like, hey, if you want to sleep with multiple women, you need to live in an area where there's lots of women. Great, that's like logic. But for the most part, red pill is like not prescriptions. But they can only see it as prescriptions because that's how they see their brand, which is Christianity, right? So instead of just saying like, hey, let's talk, like, how can we reconcile the red pill and Christianity? And we're like, well, there's Dalrock, there's red pill or rational male religion. We have guys like Glenn Lawrence that kind of like talk about both sides. But that they're never going to do that because they need us to be something. Like, for example, we're not a group of people. We come on to behind the screen, we talk about stuff, and then we go back to our lives where we have friends, family, girlfriends, wives, whatever. And they see us on a screen together, and to them, it's just like, oh, there's the Legion of Doom cooking up the next scheme to make a girl harder to marry, And it's just like, no, dude, like, you need to grow up. You're a fucking adult, the internet is not real. You don't get to go and write 6 paragraphs on the internet thinking you saved the world, right? It takes lots of billions and billions of dollars and lots of power and militaries and guns to change the world. And you have none of those. Maybe you have a couple guns, but you have none of those. The best thing you can do is call people's bullshit out, and maybe you may save one young guy who's just be like, wait a minute, I'm not going to go into this longhouse. And that's it. That's the best you can do, right? But that's it.
Yeah.
Not only that, but they also don't have the results. Like the largest consumers of internet porn are churchgoers or Christians, from what I remember. That
No.
the largest demographic of consumers of porn were religious men, and
They're the
that's like
target market, dude. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good
Well,
one. It's
well,
like
Jack, those aren't real Christians. You see, you need to go to the church
Oh, God damn it.
that only meets on Tuesdays for left-handed people, that reads the Latin Mass, and no whites allowed. those are the magic churches.
That's from the Post as well, where it's like, but the world, fortunately for us, isn't actually that simple. It's full of other people. All you have to do is notice what happened to the other people who stuck their heads in that particular bucket. Well, in this case, like the Tradcons and the Christ Bill. Did they prosper afterwards? Did they thrive? Were they suddenly wittier, richer, healthier, stronger, prettier, more insightful? Were their lives suddenly filled with joy and meaning? Or did they mostly just hang around doing the same old stuff, except now they're trying to get you to stick your head in a bucket? Because that's a lot of what I'm seeing.
Well,
Like,
the other thing too is to a lot of people, I would actually argue most of the people that use the red pill label, they use that as a bucket too. And
Oh yeah,
yeah,
100%.
And
We can. That I could go for hours about that shit, man.
yeah, it's absolutely the case. So it's not like we're this is what's so funny about this, like getting trapped in these kinds of arguments here. It's like, those red pill guys. It's like, well, who the fuck does that mean? Does that mean I'm with like Anthony Johnson? Does that mean I'm with Jack Murphy? Does that mean I'm with Andrew Tate? Does that mean I'm with Jack? Does that mean if I'm with Rollo? It's like, stop trying to force me into a group, man. I mean, there's plenty of people in we got our a group chat with Ryan. There's like 18 guys in there or whatever, and all of us are very different, but none of us are all trying to be part of like a secret group like the Freemasons, where we each have like our own membership cards or some shit. It's like, no, like we've all got different goals, we've all got different wants, but we're all here united. And the fact that it's like, oh, okay, we're all staying on task. Jack's holding up his
well, like Whisper says in his first point, it's like their utopia is not our utopia, or like their utopia is not your utopia, right? Meaning that they have this thing where like, why doesn't everyone want what I want? Well, dude, because we're all fucking different. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
people are different, man.
They expect us all to be exactly the same.
Pretty sure we have different parents. We're not twins. We're not.
That's even why it can't be an ideology, because it's mostly focused on the individual. Like, of course, like AWOLT, things like that. The mental model of like all women are the same. Of course they aren't, but it's a better operating system to deal from. But like, you've got married guys, you've got guys in relationships, you've got single guys, you've got guys in multiple relationships, things like that. There is no overlapping thing that will fit all of them. So what happens is that guys in certain situations swap notes with guys in that particular same situation. As with all other situations, like with religion and things like that, it is like one overbearing thought process that everybody faces towards. That isn't true in all of this. This is just swapping notes and tools. Yet we keep being attacked for being an ideology, where it's like, no, there's no worship, there's no be all end all. It's all situational and most of all individual.
Red pill is not our god.
It's
just a tool instead. It's not the thing to rule over us.
And we're not like I don't go on this podcast and say, Jack, today I did this act and to appease you guys.
Jack.
I would want 5 Rollo Tomasis and 3 Lion Stones.
So instead
Welcome
of the
to our Church of Rollo,
instead of the 10 Commandments, I guess we have the iron rules of Tomasi instead. There, I guess. There's that.
Yeah, but we say, hey, dude, use it. If not, I don't care. Well, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. The 10 Commandments. I think the 10 Commandments are a great moral code and everything. I mean, there's nothing really wrong in that, but I mean, we don't say
you have to follow the 10 Commandments, though. Like, that's, if you have faith, that's like you have to do that, and that's okay. That's what a faith is. But like, red pill is like, hey,
if you want,
this is what it is, bro. Whether you take it or leave it, I don't know.
That's what I keep trying to tell them too. It's not even to the point where I am intentionally trying to debate anybody, but I also like to try to say, you know, hey, I think there's a big misunderstanding, and a lot of people are trying to find, like I said earlier, find an enemy in something and trying to stir up some kind of drama to get some kind of clout in some way, shape, or form. And they found us, and they say, okay, here's our target now. And then they find, like I said, the easiest, lowest hanging fruit, and they go, oh, that Myron guy right there, he's talking about doing all this, so that means they all think that, and then they don't look any further into it. And then that would be like us saying, or that'd be like anybody else outside of a Christian perspective saying some Bible verse out of context and then saying, see, this is how all you Christians are. And
that happens a lot too on Twitter.
Exactly.
Yeah, you bring up a fair point, because there is one thing I am missing a lot of, is that disregard of people's opinion, where it's like, this was Wine More Please, I believe. I'm not sure. Dante, correct me on this one. Everything outside of your frame is either entertaining, amusing, or irrelevant. And I see that, like, when people come at the swapping of notes, there's still a lot of arguing instead of, and this is why I like Nuke, where it's like, cool, you win. Where it's like, okay, you've got criticism about all this. Okay, cool. You win.
Yeah.
And then what?
Well, the thing is they lost the Tricons lost the fight. They lost, right? And however you measure that L, whether it be Trump not being elected or the church being feminized or whatever, they lost. They lost the fight. They cannot take right now. What we're seeing is I can't take the L. And when you lose, like a video game, a sports game, or anything, a dice game, whatever you're playing, you start blaming other people and blaming, like, oh, I lost against you, Super Smash Brothers. Oh, it's my controller was low on charge. Or, hey, I lost this football game.
Conductor Tyranno.
Yeah, exactly. If you lose at Yu-Gi-Oh or a card game, I didn't draw a good hand.
You didn't have the heart of the cards, man.
Yeah, when people lose, they blame other outside things because the loss is it shakes them to their core, to the point where they're just like, there's no way I suck this much. There's got to be a reason why I lost. So hey, Tradicons are absolutely, like, they lost. They have to take the L now. But instead of taking the L, they're like, it's those red pill guys that blamed us. And like, and it's just like, and then you have the guys like, let's say like Andrew Wilson, that are just like, they kind of like us, but they kind of criticize us a lot. They're just like, why don't you guys, like, come on debates with us and all that stuff? And we're just like, you already lost. What makes you think you're gonna win the rematch?
Debates are gay.
Well,
yeah, like, you lost. What's gonna change so much that you're just gonna, like, are you gonna get like a senzu bean or something that kind of like gives you energy? Are you gonna have like this special new anime attack that's gonna get women to be in line? You already lost. You lost. So what makes you think that I think that you're gonna win the rematch? Look at the rematch right now. It's people sitting next to a blow up doll on a podcast saying, "Thou shalt not sucketh dick on camera." And guess what? OnlyFans just makes more money. And guess what's even funnier? That guys that get it and are living for themselves are getting more and more girls. And the guys that are not are getting even less and less and less. So it's like, you lost, bro. Just take the L. Just go back into the shadows, wait a decade, and then come back out. You'll be fine. Just take the L with grace.
What is the fight even for?
Yeah, a lot of these people are
for the utopia.
Honestly, well, a lot of these people actually. The reality is, when they let's take your trad wife chick, let's take your Christ pill guy. They didn't make those choices by the hard-earned experience that we've done to come up to the conclusions we have to build the life that we want. And so when they post it on their brand, and they come after us, or they come after these ideas. They're not coming out after us because they have a legitimate beef. It's more like they're trying to reaffirm their own choice because they didn't make that choice. They didn't really make that choice. right?
Well, some of us. Well, there's undoubtedly there's plenty of people who did, but you know what's really important about that, Dante? The people who did aren't on fucking Twitter arguing with people about it.
Exactly.
This is why.
Exactly.
This is why Misha's meme is so perfect, and I retweet it every opportunity I have.
Right?
Tap the
This
sign
is what I'm
meme.
saying.
No, every fucking opportunity I see that meme come up on my timeline, I'm retweeting it because it's so fucking true. If you're really
which
trad
meme?
wife, if you're really a trad wife and a trad woman, you're not arguing with fucking people on Twitter. You're
this
not.
This is what I'm
Oh,
saying.
the Mish meme, the chat.
Yeah, these people are not didn't make that choice. These people on Twitter, they're not making their choice. They're taking a brand on because they think it's trendy, they think it'll make them money, or they just think that it's the way, it's kind of a nice brand to have. And when they see something that's different from that, they'll attack it with everything they got because they need to be convinced that this is the way. When they don't know that,
This is the way.
they're
No, but
scared.
I
They
know
don't
a
know
couple.
it.
I know a couple of trans, and she is not online.
Yeah.
She is way too busy with them kids. Way too busy.
Or, you know,
home too.
Or
Same
no,
case.
church on a
Yes.
Sunday. Like these people tweet on a Sunday, so I don't know what Christianity they subscribe to.
She doesn't even want to do anything with social media. Her husband is still on it, and every now and then she gets a glimpse of it. She's like, "Get that shit away from me."
I don't
get it away.
I don't talk.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
talk
really.
about
She
this
does. She wants nothing to do with it. It's
I don't
like,
talk
nope.
about this shit with my girl for her benefit, man. For her benefit, because I like her enough to have her not hear about this shit.
I love
Well,
that. It's like the most misogynistic thing ever, but it's so perfect.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is
Yeah.
that there is no. They don't have a plan either. Like I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, what's your plan to fix the church?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we're gonna fund something and do something. I'm like, okay, well, what? Give me step one, and step two. Just give me nothing. I just like, so why would I subscribe to something where we're not going anywhere. We're just complaining. Like I already did that in my early 20s. I've complained and I got nowhere. Why? I'm about action now. I'm about steps. Like what's step one and step two? If they said, okay, we're organizing this and we're gonna kick all female pastors out or something, I don't know, by some mechanism, I'd be like, okay, cool. I am now paying attention to you. And then step two is like, hey, we're going to do this and then
Nuke's talking about something radical. They're thinking about
these
making
guys
sure it
are
wasn't me.
absolutely serious.
Yeah, to piggyback off of Nuke's point, to piggyback off of Nuke's point here, I mean, I've got friends who are in the trad spaces, some of which are business partners of mine, and some of them are on the more radical side of things. They do not want to, like, I don't know, remove women from pastorship in like the Lutheran church and stuff. Those people are actually hardcore, and those people are actually organizing to change things in their area, and those are the kinds of people I like. Now, when this Andrew Wilson fucking guy came on the scene and started bitching everybody out and saying all these things, I went on that I remember like a Rolo to the Rule Zero stream or something. He had the guy on. And I remember I was on the panel. It was like one of the first times I was on Rule Zero, and I was just thinking to myself, listening to this guy's arguments. I'm like, dude, your arguments are shit. There's nothing radical here. There's nothing you're actually trying to push here. You're just trying to have a brand because you can't say anything too edgy because then people aren't going to pay attention to you and you aren't going to,
Wasn't his
blow up
idea
and
to
such.
shame women more? And
Yeah,
then I came in. It's like, Nuke, what's my favorite quote? She doesn't know.
They don't know you.
Yeah.
They don't
The
know
other
you.
thing, too is like it's just such a fucking joke because like their idea of why everything is going to be such a problem, like the foundations of their ideas are also fucked. Like for Andrew Wilson, the worst thing going on in the world is that the population is declining in the West. I'm like, motherfucker, that's a good thing. There's too many fucking people. Why?
Yeah, didn't BAP say like white people have always been the minority? So it's like, what's the? And they've always done fine.
Well, they can't
Don't
talk
get
about
Hawk. Don't get Hawk started.
Don't get him started. Nuke, they can't talk about that topic. They can't talk about that because then that because as we all know, the founder of modern conservatism is Martin Luther King. So let's.
That's funny.
Oh shit. I mean, step one would be, hey, less fat people. That would make everything better, right? Less fat people. Like that would be step one.
COVID tried. I'm just saying, it's just nature's way of saying stop being fat. But
and there goes the monetization.
Now they're going.
Men can't talk about eugenics because it's bad, but women can talk about eugenics. Abortion. They can talk about it and they can fight for it and all that stuff, but men can't. So that's a double standard. eugenics.
We can't even say certain words with that.
Hawk on and talking about eugenics is just a bit too risky.
Look,
For me,
look,
You know,
Yeah.
I've been meaning to read Bap's new book on selective breeding and philosophy, and I haven't gotten to it yet. I need to
Well,
get on it.
from a guy perspective, eugenics kind of happens automatically in that most guys don't fuck. So there.
There, God, we're 1 in 7
We're-
right now, right? 1 in 7 guys are reproducing. So,
Yeah. So there we are.
there we are. Which one of us?
There you
we're
have it.
5 right
but you know,
now?
it's interesting because it's like, oh, we need to. They're like, oh, we need to have more sex and have more babies, right? But like, they also shame women for sex.
They're
I'm
also
like, okay, and they're
we
also
should have more
fat.
sex and have more babies, but they're also fat and they're also unattractive and they're also
Yeah,
man
like-
children. And they
It's
also
like
have
Troy
neck
Francis said,
beards.
like Matt Walsh is like, we need more babies, and then Troy Francis is like, we don't need any more bearded fucks like you on Earth.
You know what?
Like, do we need more Matt Walshes asking people what is a woman? Like, we don't care anymore, dude. We don't care.
Like,
This is
this
why
is-
I have
this
such
is-
an issue with these fucking people. I'm sorry,
Me
Chad.
too.
I'm gonna rant
Oh!
one more.
This is Hawk. After this, you can go. Like, this is
Yeah.
completely off topic, but what I do tend to notice about these like Miller brand masculinity guys with the beard, look up a photo of them without a beard, and you will see why they have the beard.
It's a good
Completely
It's
off
like-
topic, but just saying.
It's like they equipped a beard and it upped their charisma stats.
Guys
not-
like that.
It's not even gonna cut it, man. Like the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you enunciate, the way you choose your words, it comes through. Everybody knows everybody can have a vibe of who you are based on the way you talk. It's just like women can see through that. Men can smell through it. So
Yeah, and the biggest reason why my biggest enemies are always like the center right, your Con Inc. kind of people, is that they say absolutely nothing radical, but at the same time, all they do is give more ammunition for the actual talking points of the left today. They just validate all their opinions. Like
Mhm.
what Matt Walsh should be saying, instead of saying, "Oh, let's have a dialogue with a woman here about, oh, what is a woman?" It's like, no, Matt, your dialogue should be stick that woman in the pit. That should be your dialogue here, but they can't even say
Yeah.
that. They're not even cool enough or base enough to do that.
Well, like
Milk
they
toast.
always have to defer and protect women's sensibilities when they have these conversations, and women love the distraught, the downtrodden, the marginalized groups. Like look at Candace Owens, right? Number one race hustler in the
Oof.
world.
Yes.
Here's the thing with her: the AI Taylor Swift thing happened, right? However you feel about Taylor Swift, I think it's a little creepy, but you know, it's the internet, it's free speech, you know. And you know, guess what? For almost a decade, there's been deep fakes where people post their ex-girlfriend's face on an adult film star's face, and they get off on that. Like, welcome to the internet. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. You want to make
Didn't
easy
happen.
money on the
Yeah.
internet just by existing? There's gonna be
Mhm.
creeps, especially if you're a girl. Like, get
Yeah.
with it. Like, grow up,
Mhm.
right? And she said that, like, on one hand, she used to not support Taylor Swift because, oh, she's old and she's, you know, jumping from men to men, and she's teaching women how to not, you know, like she's anti-family, whatever thing they had, right? But the AI stuff came out, and she was like defending, like, oh, we should ratify laws to get, you know, AI this, blah blah. I'm just like, this is how it starts. It's always like it's always like they can't help them. Yeah, they can't help themselves, but to be, you know, women in charge is a police state, right? So women latch onto this conservative movement because there's a lot more rules that like keep men more controlled and women more free, right? Because if I can make a cake with my tits out and splash cookie or batter all over my shirt, right? Which most women cook with an apron. You're supposed to cook with an apron, especially if you're doing messy stuff, right? It's weird. And if I can do that, but no one holds me accountable, but all these guys got held accountable for like looking at a pair of tits online, then that I win. That I want to be part of this movement because I win, and the guys have to work and be super chaste. It's like female dominance, right? And that's just an iteration. But us guys see that and like, hey, dude, you can go ahead and see some boobs online. Just make sure that you don't get addicted to that stuff. And if you're impulsive, freaking like don't do it. And also like get yourself a real girl, asshole. Like go out and talk to women. You're gonna realize like the real is 100 times better than the fake. Right.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And then go on
100%.
and be great and do your thing. Right. But girls are just like, if you see a piece of a nipple online, you're going to hellfire. Subscribe to my channel. And it's just like, like who's gonna subscribe to that? Like, I'd rather be in the group of like guys that are like, hey, dude, you see a pair of tits online, it's not the end of the world. Just like kind of like talk to real girls,
Yeah.
And don't get too addicted to like your sedations. Like, go out and play your video games, but also kind of like show up to work on time and have some sex once in a while. Like,
you'll find.
Are we cool? Are we cool with that? And they're just like, I
Yeah.
could do that. And then you realize, like, wait, I had those sedations in the first place because I was so controlled and so blue pill and such in the longhouse that I needed an escape. But now that I'm my own point of origin, maybe I don't need to play Final Fantasy 8 hours a day. Maybe I'll just play 1 hour a day. Or maybe I don't need to see boobs online. I can just talk to a couple girls and feel them, and no one's going to shame me. I can just do it because no one cares. Like, no one cares that you're enjoying and doing things the way you want. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's why leaving the longhouse is so important for guys, or else you'll never be happy. You'll be in your sedations forever. You won't know why. You'll be like, why am I playing so many video games? Why am I looking at all these boobs online? Why am I arguing and watching red pill content 24/7? What is it? And then you start living for yourself. You're just like, wait, I just need to hang out with my friends more and talk to real girls. And maybe sleep
That's
with
so
like
fucking
more
funny.
than one
Yeah.
chick at a time. Maybe I needed to sleep with like 3 chicks for a little bit, and we're like, oh, okay, cool. I have a choice now. I get to pick from the batch of what's best for me. And then your sedations, boom, go away because you're just like, wait, I was just using them to cope for a shitty suboptimal life. So there you have it.
Yeah, there you have it.
And
That's-
there you have it.
You know,
Guys, nothing has
Has
changed,
changed for you.
Nuke,
Nuke
that's in
just
2 weeks,
summarized.
right?
We got to talk. I'll
Yeah.
message you.
Dude,
Okay, let
Nuke-
me get to all the super chats. Or Dante,
Yeah, Nuke just summarized like the quote unquote red pill experience in a very, very pithy, way of saying it. So that's been my experience. I'm sure that's been Jack's experience. I'm sure that's been Red Hawks and Governor's experience. This is what every guy that goes through this shit experiences. If they're, keep their head on their shoulders. So yeah, that's all I have to say, Jack.
oh no.
Hey, wait, is Veronica? Who's Veronica?
I was
I
about to
don't know.
reply to that. Dang it.
I checked her
I-
channel. At least she's real. It's not Billy.
Yeah,
Well,
I
like
now
her.
we know it will all fall off. Let me get
Yeah.
to the super
What is
chat.
she saying? That's disgusting to the Christ pill bros.
I thought she was
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
I was like, finally, I mean, hey, I was going to get the vasectomy, but hey, maybe that'll happen first.
Speaking of vasectomies, Juando for the €2. Thank you very much, Juan. Hoery was a choice. Kanye West. I mean, he knew a couple. Todd
I'm pretty
Geiger
sure
for
the
the
girls
10.
that slept with me wanted to sleep with me. Pretty damn sure.
Todd Geiger for the $10. Thank you very much, Todd. Having a good frame precludes trying different buckets on one's head. He's not wrong.
Sneeko, the bucket
Oh my
connoisseur.
gosh, yeah.
Ah.
Fair point. Fair point. Alex Patino, truck driving agent in the field for $5. You did say this episode is already demonetized. Right, yeah,
And
pretty
there goes
right.
the monetization.
And there goes the monetization. Alex Patino for another $5. Very gracious today. There was an author who wrote a book called The Virtue of Selfishness, Ayn Rand. But selfishness does help one achieve success better. Yeah, but that's the thing too, where it's like you can't be selfish, because if someone is selfish, he 9 times out of 10 goes and gets what he wants, which 9 times out of 10 is something somebody else wants. So he doesn't want the other person to be selfish.
It's very, very hard to be purely selfish. To do a purely selfish act, in my opinion, it's very hard.
That is true. Like, we all have some empathy,
Yeah, this is why Ayn Rand gets some things right, but not everything right.
Yep.
Right.
Well, she was a woman.
An extreme degenerate woman as well. If you know anything about Ayn Rand's life.
Oh, you gotta send that. You gotta tell stories after the show.
It's like Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo apparently was a genius, but she was a huge simp too.
Alex
Yeah,
Patino for another $5. Christ pill, Jesus pill, God pill, whatever you call it, has the worst degeneracy ever. True. The preacher's daughter or Catholic schoolgirls are a thing. Yep. I mean, there's a reason Britney chose that outfit. Let's be honest here. X-Runner for another $5. Even the head of Ayn Rand Institute, sorry, is blue pilled.
Oh, yeah. Joran Brook. Yeah, the guy's a flaming homo.
Oh my God. Chad Elkins, CPA, the most handsome CPA there is, for $2. Happy Sunday, gentlemen. Happy Sunday, Chad.
What's up, Chad?
Nonstop Dre 360, who has been a member for 30 months. Jesus, thanks, Dre. Society, why don't you guys man up and marry a woman with debt, pay it off for them, even though they can divorce you and ruin your life? Yeah, that's kind of the thing right now. It's like, I wouldn't ask it on a first date, but like somewhere down the line and be like, hey, how's your finances? It's like, like any debt or whatever?
Hey, Veronica in the chat, I think we should keep it. Call me. Anyways, guys, continue.
Alex Patino from Utah. Mormons, there's a thing called oh yeah, I heard about this. Soaking. Insert a body part to another body's part. Remember, no thrusting, therefore it's not a sin.
Soaking. That's what Mormons call it?
Mormons are
Yeah.
weird.
I've heard it as docking as well, but they're the most.
Let
They're
me
the-
lay port. Yar.
Wait a minute.
I
Wait
just
a
think
minute.
of that Interstellar scene where they're trying to dock and they're trying to spin the ships in the same kind of like
Oh.
speed so they can dock.
I need to
Remember
see
that
that
scene?
movie. I need
Yeah,
to see
dude,
it.
Guys-
it's such a cool
Yeah.
movie.
Guys, it's only soaking if it's wet. The Mormons got it wrong.
Oh. Well, again, they're the most Talmudic of the Christian religions, so it makes
Let-
sense why that'd be
Alex
loopholey.
Patino, thank you again for the $5. Sam Whiskey for the $9.99. Thank you very much. Muhammad, the prophet, was a soldier, a businessman, and a husband. A lot of men can relate to that. Jesus sometimes reminds me of a superhero. Thank you for the $9.99, Sam Whiskey.
He was a fucking carpenter, man.
That
His
is
actual
true. No, the
shit.
son
That's
of
the
a
superhero name, the Carpenter.
No, he did actual carpentry.
Yeah,
I mean,
Look at
he's
the
pretty
father
bad.
stuff.
He's pretty bad.
Did-
Jesus was
did
pretty
he-
badass. Jesus
Yeah,
was
Did he
pretty
make
badass.
his
was
own
pretty
cross?
metal.
Did he make his own cross? Nonstop Dre for $2 instead of praying. What?
We broke Nuke.
Again? What did I say this time?
He built his own cross.
Yeah. Oh, let's question. He was a carpenter.
Met-
Did he build
met
his
a-
own cross?
Metaphorically speaking, he absolutely did. We take up your own cross.
I mean,
kinda
yeah.
It wouldn't be.
I
a
just
post-
like how He did say-
nonchalant that was.
I mean, he did
Yeah.
say to take up your own cross.
I mean, it isn't a
Show me how to
post-era
do it.
without me.
Oof.
Like,
Jesus, show me how to do it.
Oh, that was way too nonchalant, Jack. The way you just dropped that. Did he make his own cross? Anyway, guys, I was like, what the
Yeah.
I mean, it's an honest question. Honest question.
what do you
I didn't
make
say
of
it.
this, son? Oh, trust me, this will come in late, handy later in
That
15
wasn't-
years.
That wasn't blaspheming at all. That was actually what happened.
He just wanted to make use of what he had, But okay, nonstop Drake for the $2. Instead of praying 5 times a day, we do cock push-ups.
Hell yeah.
Tenacious D. Tenacious D. Sam Whiskey for the $4.99. Most men are stuck between sexless marriage and loveless sex.
Yeah.
Ooh, deep.
Yeah.
I might
Wow.
tweet that later.
Mm.
Tradcon, Nonstop Dre for another $2.
Yeah, I like that.
Tradcons are mad that they're not meta anymore.
Well, they're always going to be meta because they're speaking to something that's like a deep human truth and actually how we've survived for most of all of our history as humans on this planet. And so they're always going to be here. My problem with them is that instead of,
They become big pussies. That's all.
Yeah, that's my point. Instead of pussyfooting around what your thoughts are and your goals are for the society, instead of trying to sneakily subvert the institutions with your tradconness, it's like, no, you got to go hardcore, man. That's how the right always wins. Go put on your Augusto Pinochet, Francisco Franco outfits and man up. But they're not even going to do that. So
Nope.
Yeah.
Nonstop Dre for another $2. If you feel chest pain, if you feel chest
Jesus
pains,
Christ.
the jab is working.
We are not
going there. Alex
Oh,
Patino,
fuck.
member for 29 months. Thank you very much. I forgot to add that Ayn Rand actually had a side piece when she was married. Oh yeah, she was a liberalist. I am not surprised.
she had multiple ones, and according to all of her memoirs, she would not shower. She was so self-interested. She would just, I'm so selfish. I'm not doing this.
Dude,
Yeah.
I can't. Guys have such bad taste in writing that they're willing to fuck that author. Jesus Christ. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, X Runner
It hasn't changed.
We broke Nuke again.
Yo, I smell them armpits, but let's do it. Let's fuck it. I like your writing.
X Runner
Jesus
55
Christ.
for the $5.
There's always
Mary
been simps. There's always been simps.
Yep.
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 Mary Magdalene was a rich woman. Mary of Bethany was the side chick. Bring back that Christ King. Jesus Christ.
It's like the apocryphal books of the Bible, I think, right? The
Yeah.
apocryphal Gospels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was a busy chat today, but let's wrap this one up, guys. Where can people find you? I've tagged everybody in the description, so if you want to go to their channels, you can go there via the description. But let's go around the panel. Nuke, Dante, Red Hawk, Gov.
So final thoughts. Remember what Whisper said. Their utopia is not your utopia. They lost the fight. Why would you think they'll win the rematch? Triconism was destroyed by a non-reversible process. They're not offering to save society for you. They're demanding you save it for their kids, right? And if they were serious, they would actually do things instead of blaming me and the way I live in this apartment in Dallas somewhere. Like, what am I doing to ruin society? You know,
It's that piano, Nuke. It's that fucking
yeah.
piano. You're
Well,
ruining
the thing is
society
that
with that piano.
they don't put their money where their mouth is, right? They don't learn a skill that can help people. They don't join the military to kind of like, hey, I'm just going to join the military, become an officer, and maybe, you know, train some guys and become a good example or something. No, it's just I'm going to go on a podcast, clout chase, and I'm
Gonna
supposed to
run
be
my
some
fucking
kind of
mouth.
beacon. Yeah, just some kind of beacon for good and for Christianity. And like, no, Christianity is about acts. It's about doing things and having plans and like, you know, not sacrificing your morals and things, right? And, you know, like I said, when you lose a lot, you got to blame someone because the pain of loss is so difficult to deal with. So, hey, the convenient boogeyman right now is the red pill because somehow us telling guys, hey, do what's best for you is the same as destroy America. You know, I think most people love this country. They love it in weird ways, you know, but, you know, I think no one wants to see this country go to shit, especially young guys that are actually like have a stake, you know, in this because they might be the ones to fight wars in the future. But for the most part, red pill is about you and you only. So sorry guys, it's always going to be that way. And if you guys don't accept that, the door's over there. So yeah.
Okay. Before we go around the panel again, Dark Knight Dev member for 8 months. Thank you very much.
Oh, fuck
Apollo Greed, the great Carl Weathers. We need more 80s trading montages and less podcasts or debate to hold women accountable. Yeah, man. Like
Amen,
Carl
bro.
Weathers died.
Amen.
Ah,
shit, man.
Yeah,
That's
Rip
rough.
Chubbs, Rip. God, what the hell was his name in Predator? You son of a bitch! You know, they clapped.
Yeah.
Dylan.
Yes.
Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan, you son of a bitch. But of course, like Apollo Creed. I mean, that was such a great character. Like I love the first bits of Rocky 2. Balboa, need to do a rematch. It's like plus that physique. I mean, I ain't gay, but achieving that physique,
Someone clip that.
I had a hunch you weren't, but go on.
Dante, closing thoughts. So where can people find you?
Well, so I kind of hinted at it before, but like the trick that these people on Twitter are trying to make you believe is that like your little actions will like change the universe, and you're a small person. You're not gonna adversely affect. Like if you fuck one chick, you're not gonna cause the stock market to crash or like, you know, people like to go run amok on the streets. Or,
Not
like,
with that attitude, Dante.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've yet to accomplish it myself. We're getting there, but you know, the audience definitely not. You know, it's not gonna happen, right? So, like, have the confidence to do your thing because you're not shit, and that's okay. And the first thing that the people on Twitter are trying to convince you is that your like small actions will, you know, tear the country apart when it's not the case. So those are my final thoughts on that. And people can find me on Twitter where I'm blocking people and not doing much else. Yeah, it's the year of the block, boys. Get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
Nah.
So,
Hawk.
I guess all I could say is, you know, do not get drowned into all of this TradCon, NormieCon Inc. stuff, particularly in an election year this year. None of the stuff is going away anytime soon. It's going to be all over the place. It's going to be nothing but shaming men and trying to get you to sign up for their new course or whatever the fuck it is, you know, of how you're going to save the West. And you know what? you know what? I'll save more of my rants for another time here about how like you actually do change it in politics and such. But listen here, man. All I can say is what Dante said. Like, you ain't shit, and that's okay.
There will come a day, Hawk, where you can drop the F-bomb, the real F-bomb. I promise.
Friendship.
Yeah. Well, you know, my mind just went to that. My mind just went to that meme. You know, the Drake meme. It's like dropping F bombs, nah, dropping N bombs. Yeah.
Oh
But
no!
we're not
Farming?
doing that.
Farming.
Gov. Closing thoughts, and where can people find you? You're muted. You're muted.
No, I'm not. I'm right here. No. So
I'm muted.
Is this your wallet? Is this your
Yes.
driver's license?
yes, right here. But my thought is that, particularly, especially to these guys in this Christ bill, they think the world's going to become perfect if everyone goes their way and does everything how they want. But let's not forget that in this book right here, it even says that the world is never going to get any better until the end of it all anyway. So how are you going to deal with living in today's world that was expected to be this way anyway? I mean, what are your solutions to such? Find that out first.
And where can people find you?
Oh, I put it on the comments. You know what? I don't even care. But yeah, you can find me at GOV_Megatron on Twitter. And like Jack said, I think he said our YouTube links are on the description. Yeah, just click from there.
Nice. As for me, closing thoughts, stop letting other people's convictions become your convictions. They often, 9 times out of 10, have only their own best self-interest at heart and not your self-interest. Time to think for yourself. That's it from us. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below your thoughts of this show, and we will see you next week, where Mish Chat of Arabia had a great topic about how to navigate the work environment. So we'll see you then. Cheers.
Bye, Jack shit.